Did you know that the U.S. extends 2,092 miles coast to coast? And did you know that the U.S. Mexico border extends 1,954 miles? That's according to www.fairus.org. And 1,000 miles of that is basically naked or unprotected. And that's what leads me to talk to you about today. The three tiers of the U.S. Mexico borderline, starting with Tier 1. As you can see, it's a picture of the desert over the border and the picture of the Rio Grande around the border. Now, those are two parts of my Tier 1, starting with natural obstruction, is the Rio Grande and some ravines and canyons that are impassable by foot traffic and vehicle traffic. According to a post on the Washington Post titled 130 miles of the Mexico border won't need a wall, is because there's 130 miles of the Rio Grande that is impassable by foot traffic and vehicle traffic. So that stops all traffic there, so there will be no wall or fence or anything needed there, but just border patrol that will just watch the river. And that leads me into my second point in Tier 1, nothing, which is just the open desert. That extends over 1,000 miles of just open desert, only patrolled by our border patrol, which it's still protected, but it's not impeded. It doesn't impede any foot traffic or vehicle traffic. People can just still walk across and drive across. It needs to be well maintained, and with nothing there, it extends our border control very thin, which leads me into my Tier 2, where we see our first man-made borderline, which is using fence and these big metal objects that look like jacks, which are known as vehicle barriers. These vehicle barriers, as you can tell, would stop vehicles because they're made out of steel and would stop a car or truck or anything, but it doesn't really stop people because people can crawl under them, walk around them, or just crawl over top of them. It's just like a fence. People can crawl over fences, crawl under fences, or somehow get their way through fences, but it still slows them down. And according to fairus.org, only 354 miles of our border is fenced up, and only 300 miles is walled up with vehicle barriers. So that adds up to a total of 654 miles of our border that is fenced up or either protected with vehicle barriers. That leaves still 1,000 miles just for our border patrol to protect by using patrols and drones. Now, which leads me to my Tier 3, which is the new wall, which, as you can see, is made out of cement and is very tall. This new wall is made out of concrete, and we all know concrete for being strong and tough and sturdy. Now, just imagine a wall 30 to 40 feet tall of just solid concrete. Now, this new wall is about 30 to 40 feet, as I said, and about 10 inches thick. This new wall, according to Newsweek.com, only is 46.7 miles. That's only a measly 2.3% of our U.S.-Mexico border. Now, this cement border wall will stop foot traffic and vehicle traffic. Nobody's going to climb a 30 to 40 foot wall, and nobody's going to drive through a 10-inch, 30 to 40 foot cement wall. So this will stop both traffic and foot traffic. Now, and in conclusion, I went over the three tiers of the U.S.-Mexico border wall, and I went over the fact that the U.S.-Mexico border is 1,954 miles long, and 1,000 of that is unprotected or naked, as I said, but still protected by our border control. And the reason why I chose this topic is because I'm hoping to sway your mind in my next speech, which is about illegal immigrations and how the U.S.-Mexico border is our true biggest immigration problem.